New NBA playoff fusion promo in NBA SuperCard. We're going to go through all the requirements so you know exactly what you need to do in order to get this done. Now, this fusion promo can be a little confusing, so we're going to break all of this down. We're also going to take a look at the rewards because they certainly are pretty decent. Playoff fusion, though, is not for everybody. I'm just going to have to say that. There are going to be a certain group of people that are certainly going to struggle with this. And that's unfortunate because we've done, these types of fusions before, and they can get a little bit frustrating if you don't have the cards in order to complete them. So let's start this off by the very first fusion, Elimination round. Now, this is obviously going to be the easiest one for you to be able to obtain because, well, it only contains tickets. Now, these 8 tickets that are in the fusion right now, you can obtain on the draft board. So it's going to require you to play a lot of NBA SuperCard. You also could get them in the free packs. So every 4 hours, be sure that you claim your 2 free tickets. I'm sure they're going to be available in the store as well. Now, currently, there are no quests, and I doubt there is going to be, and there's certainly not any in what looks to be reward packs either. So pretty much the only place that you can get them if you want to do this sort of fusion is to play a lot of NBA SuperCard. Now, in the beginning of the fusion, you're always going to have better drop rates than the next day and the next day after that. It's been like this with these types of fusion events all of the time. The first couple hours of this promo, hopefully you're playing a lot. But either way, elimination round is going to be based on your top 8. So just put in 8 of the tickets. And for me, being Galactic tier, I can't even get a Galactic card. So no way I'm ever going to do this. But this might help some people, and it is pretty easy to do. Now, the next fusion is kind of going to be where you're going to start eliminating some of the player base, just depending on how much NBA SuperCard you've played in the past and how many cards you have available. So for this particular one, you need 6 of the tickets and 2 of any card. Now, this is what, 1750 in points, which is about the equivalent of 2 Bionic Pros. Now, for me, being Galactic tier, this really is not that much. But for a lot of new players or players that haven't been playing a long time, this is going to be kind of a challenge in order to get some of these requirements. But this is the equivalent of about 2 Bionic Pros. And what you get for this is an Airwave playoff card. Now, just taking a look at some of these Airwave playoff cards. Now, with this particular fusion, this is the second fusion in a row that we do not have WNBA. Now, this is a serious problem, at least for me and probably for most people. Not having fusions or not having promos in which you can't get WNBA certainly makes it a lot more challenging. But we're going to get to why this fusion is actually unique in a little bit. But looking at some of these cards, I mean, they're cool designs. I mean, I certainly like them. They got all of the playoff teams and a lot of the playoff stars with each of the playoff teams. So there's certainly lots of cards to choose from. At least I haven't looked at all of them, but it does look like they have every single team that are currently in the playoffs. Now, how many that is exactly, I'm really not sure, but it does look like they do have maybe maybe it's just 1 per team. I think with Airwave, there's probably going to be maybe 16 cards, 1 per team. Chris Paul on the Suns. I did notice that Chris Paul is the Airwave and Booker is going to be for the Galactic tier. And now the third fusion is going to be really where it starts to build up with, the requirements in order to complete this. Now, in order to do this fusion, not only do you need 2 of the tickets, but you need 2 Airwaves. Now, you have to do 2 of the playoff Airwave fusions, which require 2 Bionic Pros, which means 4 Bionic Pros, the 2 Airwave fusions that you did, and then these 2 right here, which are going to be about the equivalent of 2 Edge Pros. So 4 Bionic Pros, 2 Edge Pros, the 2 playoff Airwaves you need, and that's going to give you a Shooting Star, which is your very first Galactic tier of these playoff fusions. Now, again, same sort of thing. They do have players from each of the teams in Bionic tier, and the designs are awesome. I love these designs on all of the playoff fusions, which are really cool. We got Jimmy Butler there. We got Domantas Sabonis. We got Giannis Antetokounmpo. Bunch of different ones. Ja Morant right there, Joel Embiid, Donovan Mitchell, and like I said, I didn't go through all of them, but I'm just going to assume that they have 1 player for each of the teams. We got Mikal Bridges, Kawhi Leonard. There's that Ja Morant again. Designs, like I said, amazing. There's that D-Book. Definitely very sick. Domantas Sabonis, Donovan Mitchell. But either way, those are the requirements just for one single Galactic. Now, every other fusion after this is going to be where this fusion event is going to be just a little bit different. It's going to be kind of like Road Trip in a way. These Sunset Stunner and Daybreak Dunk are both the same fusion, except it's separated in the Western Conference and Eastern Conference. And so for the first one, Sunset Stunner, you're going to need 2 of the Galactic fusions that we just did in that previous one, and then 2 of these, which is the equivalent, again, of about 2 Edge Pros. And what you're going to get is another Galactic card. But the difference with this, not only is the card design just a little bit different and the image is different, which looks amazing. I absolutely love it. They have, you know, other members of the team behind it, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert. It does look like, I think that maybe, well, we got a KD, we got a Chris Paul right there. I don't know if they're going to be, I don't see them. It does look like they're just one of each of the teams. But either way, the difference between this Galactic card and the previous Galactic card is the stats. They're just a little bit better, like 3 or 4 points. I compared the Devin Booker earlier, and with the Devin Booker, the stat from 2372 was the original offense, 2230 was the original defense, 2226, and then 2342. So the stats aren't much better, but they are a little bit better, kind of like in Road Trip. So if you want a better version of that player's Galactic playoff card, then you would do this fusion. To me, it seems like a complete waste unless you have a lot of Galactic fusions. I would almost just stick with the first one and be happy with that. And now Daybreak Dunk with, like I said, is the same exact thing as the other one, which is Western Conference. This is Eastern Conference. It's going to be one of each team members, same ones as the original Galactics, except the image is just a little bit different and the stats are just a little bit different. And so I do like these images almost better because it does have other players on the team behind it. It almost looks like the duo cards, except they're trio cards in a way. Even though you can't, you know, get any of those other 3 cards, maybe they'll be available. It almost makes it seem like they might make them available, but maybe they're just in there as, you know, just a part of the team or whatever. But looking at, you know, these images are amazing. I do really like them, and the stats are good compared to other, you know, promo type of cards. They're not as good as event cards, obviously, but they're still really good stats. And then we got the last 2, Champions of the West, Champions of the East. And this is kind of like the other ones, where you need Western Conference of the previous fusion. So not only the first Galactic, you know, you need 2 of the first Galactic fusions just to do the second Galactic fusion. And then you need 2 more of those to do one of these. And very similar to the last one, these are exactly the same card, exactly the same image, same players, and all that stuff. The only difference is that the stats are just a little bit better. There's that Devin Booker. We went from what, 2372 was the first Galactic offense, and then the second Galactic playoff fusion was 2375, and then this one is 2384. So each one of the Galactic fusions, they're going to go up in the stats, which is kind of neat. I mean, I kind of like it. Very pay to winny type thing, but also very grindy. And like I said, these images are going to be the same images as the second fusion, not the first Galactic fusion, because the card design is just a little bit different. It has those balloons and stuff in the background, but the second and the third ones look exactly the same. And it almost makes it seem, you know, like I said, it almost makes it seem like they want to make them trio cards and maybe they'll add other ones, because this does say Champions of the East. And maybe when we get to the Eastern Conference Finals, that whatever 2 teams are left, they're going to add the other two players to here, that would be super cool. And, you know, give you more of a variety, but also make it a lot more difficult to pro the cards too. So maybe it's a good or bad thing. I'm really not sure on that one. But either way, this is a ton of work if you do these fusions. It's a lot of grinding. You have to get a ton of tickets. If you even think about, I mean, I would almost just focus on the very first Galactic. If you're just an average, everyday, regular player, I would certainly just focus on Shooting Star. Just focus on the first Galactic card. Even though it's the lowest stats, it's still Galactic promos. They are only NBA, unfortunately, still no WNBA. But this is what I would focus on for sure. If you have just a crazy number of, you know, Galactic pros, you don't need any NBA, then probably, you know, you could focus on getting the best ones, making it all the way to the Champions of the West. But that's going to require you a lot of fusions, a lot of work, a lot of grinding, but you're certainly going to have the best promo cards there are. And I did forget to mention the last two of the fusions, the cards you're going to be required are about the equivalent of 2 Torrent pros. So for most veteran players, you're going to have a lot of extra cards to be able to just throw away to do this. That's typically not the problem for, you know, veterans and people that play a lot. But the only issue is certainly going to be, you know, there's a lot of cards in here. There's 8 of them, which means the chances of you getting a pro are going to be really small. The last promo, we had 9 cards and we got what, 8 of them, 7 of them for free. And even still, people only ended up with 1, maybe 2 pros. And so if you want a pro of this Champions of the West, you're going to have to do 30, I don't know, 30, 40 of these fusions of One to Watch and Shooting Stars probably in order to, you know, keep up with the opportunity to be able to get you, you know, one of these pros. It's certainly a lot. But either way, that's going to do it for the video. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this stuff, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Y'all take it easy. Good luck. We're out. Peace.